Chelsea?
Oh yeah, could have been an easier job, but in saying that, I think there's about 16, well, in the last 16, and 14 and 15 of them are Premier League teams, so it was always going to be a difficult tie whoever we got. Chelsea's obviously harder than most, but it's one we're looking forward to. It's a home game as well, which was something that we wanted. We've had 2 away ties in the previous round, so nice to get a cup tie on a cold, wet Tuesday evening, may I suggest?
At the Brit.
At the Brit, yeah.
You made quite a few changes in midweek. Anybody give you food for thought about?
Yeah, there was a number. I was pleased with the performance. I thought it's important we started the game in the right manner. We certainly did that. Good for Peter Crouch, obviously, to make an impression. It's been a bit of a struggle up to this point. His season is a bit stop-start. Missed pre-season. Had a little bit of a complication with the operation that he had, so he was in hospital for a few days recovering from that, and it just set him back somewhat. But in recent weeks, I've seen a real difference in his work on a daily basis, and I thought he was a lot better in the game in midweek. Getting a goal, obviously, for a striker is important, so he was able to do that as well. So I thought Peter did okay. I thought Afellay was good on the night as well. So I looked at a couple of things as well, which were interesting to me in terms of selection and positional changes. So it was a good night all round, because a lot of positives. We won the match first and foremost, and we're into the next round. So and I was able to give game time to a lot of the guys that I've had to be patient, and sometimes you have to be fair to them and acknowledge the patience and the support that they give to the guys that are in possession of the shirt at the moment. So I was able to do that as well.
I'm glad you mentioned Crouchy, because it was to that point that I was going to ask you the question about him. Has he still got a big part to play here? Because one thing about certain players is you get to a certain age, you've accrued quite a bit of money or whatever, you could sit back on your laurels. He doesn't appear to be that sort of person, do you think?
No, you're absolutely right. I think Peter is, as a person, I mean, he's a genuine guy. He wants to do well. He's at the stage of his career where he still wants to achieve things. He's at a good club, and he's enjoying his time here. He's re-contracted with us as well, so he's happy in his surroundings. That doesn't mean he's going to, like you say, rest on his laurels and just see out the terms of his contract without working hard and trying to play a part in what we're doing here. He was a significant player last year. He can be again this year. It's just that the beginning of the season has set him back somewhat, and he's been behind some of the other guys in the initial part of the season. But as the season progresses, as different opposition and different games present different problems to you, then Peter will play games without a shadow of a doubt, because he gives us something a little bit different.
And you left a few big names out, but is it fair to say that given this midweek game now, that nobody's safe with their starting place against Bournemouth?
Well, no, I mean, we look to protect a couple of players. Obviously, like Bojan back from a long-term injury, it was unrealistic to think that he could play 3 games in a week. So that was the thinking behind that. Johnny Walters as well, just got an ongoing problem that we manage and we try and manage this year, and have done last year as well. So tried to give him a rest in midweek. So there was any number of little niggles that we were just trying to protect. But you're right in saying the guys that obviously are playing are doing okay. I don't think our performances are too much of concern. Results-wise, we haven't got as many points on the board as we would like, but for the most part, I've been reasonably happy with the main part of our performances. Spoke before about not being able to get a 90-minute performance on the board yet. That's something we'll strive to do tomorrow. But the guys in possession of the shirt, they know there's good quality. We've got strength in depth. I think apart from Mark Wilson, who's got a little bit of concern with his calf, and Ryan Shawcross, I think the whole squad is fit and available. So you're talking about 22, 23 senior players available for selection, which is obviously great for me in one way, but gives me a problem as well because I've got to disappoint a few. But we need that strength and depth. We'll need it. We'll need it now and right through the season. So the guys understand that.
I know you'll tell me there are plus points for some of the games that you've played, but surely you cannot like looking at that table.
No, I think it wasn't the start we'd hoped for, but it wasn't an easy start. In fairness, if you look at the teams that we played, but if we look back at every game, if we can maybe console ourselves in terms of what we produced in some of the games. We made individual errors certainly last weekend when we were totally in control of the game against Leicester, so that can hamper your ambitions. But I have to say, these periods for a team like ourselves, we view ourselves as a middle to top team in the Premier League, and at some point in the season you will get a run where you've gone 4, 5, 6 games without a win. I seem to recall in my first season here we had a run of 6 games without a win, and we had another run of 8 games without a win, and that was all before Christmas, and we still went on to get 9th position in the league. So it's not about the here and now, it's about the end of the season, and I think we're confident. We know we're a good side at this level, and hopefully, ideally, we get the points on the board that our performances merit, and that will start tomorrow, hopefully.
I'm hearing there are doubts over Callum Wilson's fitness. Don't know how true that is, but how impressed have you been by him, and were you ever tempted to go in like so many clubs were when he was at Coventry?
He's a good player. He's a good player, and I think he's adapted to the Premier League really well. Strong, good retaining the ball with his back to the goal, which is something of a lost art, I think, in this day and age. Of something that obviously my whole game was based on that, so I look out for similar types of players sometimes, and there isn't too many that enjoy that part of the game, maybe protecting the ball and bringing other players into play. But certainly he's got that, and he's got pace as well. So he scored goals, so that'll obviously give him the confidence that all strikers need. So I've been really impressed with him.
Have you looked at him the best?
We never got to that. So I think everybody looks at all the good talent that's playing at a lower level, and we know about the type of players that are out there, but it's different knowing about them and actually going after them.
Close season, Eddie has been everybody's darling, but he's coming to the Premier League now. Do you think he's woken up and smoked the coffee a little bit?
I think everybody has to. It's a really difficult league to compete in, and they've got a couple of wins on the board. They'll be pleased with that. So from their point of view, they'll think they've had a decent start, something that they obviously as a promoted team would want to have. But it's a long season, and when you come up as a promoted side, you do well initially, and then you get a few points on the board. Then all of a sudden you look ahead to the weekend coming, and you're up against the top 6, top 10 sides, and you think, goodness me, we've got to go again. And then you get over that and do reasonably well, maybe not win the game but play well. But then all of a sudden you look at the fixture calendar again, all of a sudden you've got the same thing looming on the horizon. It's week in, week out. It's not, there's no respite, and I think that's what people are struck by when they first come into the league.
Just finally for me, this has come out in the Rugby World Cup this week, and also it's happened to Tim Sherwood at Villa against Birmingham, where the opposition seemingly get the team lead to them. Is this commonplace? Tim Sherwood said everybody does it. Everybody tries to get this advantage. Is that true?
Well, you're always grateful when you do get a little bit of snippet of information. Usually it's bum information basically, but sometimes you get information that actually is relevant to the team that you actually face. So you're always welcome about it. They come from different means and left field sometimes, but you can get an inkling. But we're having a conversation this morning about the situation with rugby and why they give the team out so early, and why would you? But it seems to be the protocol, and that's what they do. I don't know if there's any restriction or reason behind it, whether or not it's just tradition, I don't really know. But I don't think it'll ever come into football. We're too much of a closed shop, I think, and we don't like to show our hand too early.
So you wouldn't be happy with that then?
No,
But you
not
wouldn't
at all.
mind knowing the opposition's team?
Oh, I'd like to know the opposition team as long as they didn't know mine.
Fair.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right, mate.
Mark, going back many years ago when I was young, I used to watch Bournemouth in the third division at Dean Courts with John Bond and Phil Boyer and Harry Redknapp, and never dreamed they'd be in the Premier League, and yet here they are. But is it really a case that with the Premier League these days that clubs like Bournemouth, you know, are very much a novelty? You know, they won't survive more than a couple of seasons.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think they're a club that's are well run. That helps. If you've got good management at all levels, that will give you a better chance. I think they've got backers. I think certainly they had financial strength maybe in the Championship that enabled them to get good players in, and that helped them obviously to get promotion. But it's a difficult league that we compete in, and you have to get everything right. The key is to make sure the first season is one of progression. You stay in the league, and then you try and build from that point, and that's certainly what Stoke have done over the years, and that's why we're in the position we are in terms of the strength and the stability of the club at the moment.
You'll no doubt be seeking revenge against Bournemouth. Your second game in charge as a Premier League manager many years ago when you were at Blackburn
Right.
was against Bournemouth. Do you remember
Was
that
it?
one? League Cup?
Oh yeah, we got beat. Yeah. I made too many changes though. That was the problem. So I was trying to get to know the squad that I had, and I realised maybe the strength and depth wasn't quite what it needed to be. But they played very well on the night. I seem to recall it was Sean O'Driscoll. I think it was the manager, was he?
That's right.
Yeah, it could well have been, and always sets his teams up well, and always tries to get his teams playing football, and that was the case then, and they played really well on the night, deserved to go through.
It went to a penalty shootout. Can you remember who scored for Bournemouth the winning goal? Winning penalty?
No idea.
Eddie Howe.
Good God.
There you go.
I never knew that.
Remember that when you're shaking his hand.
All right, I remember that. Didn't do me any harm.
Mark, a lot of people are asking when Hosselu is going to be unleashed. Have you got any comment to make on that? I mean,
Well, he's in.
Give us the team now, like.
Yeah, he's in around the group. He's doing okay. Like I said, we were trying to get everybody up to speed. He's very much in my thoughts. He's working hard in training. He's showing a lot of quality in training. Did okay against Arsenal under difficult circumstances when he started for the first time. He obviously wants to be starting games at home at the Brit, and that will come. But he may have to be a little bit patient. I think he understands that. Like Bojan, Mark Muniesa, were in similar situations, and they just had to bide their time. Once they did break through, then they did exceptionally well, and we feel everybody in the club that with the talent that Joslu's got, that will be the case with Jossie as well. But at the moment, he just got to bide his time. He'll get opportunities. I'll play him in games that I think he can have maximum impact for us, and hopefully he'll take his chance.
Mark, you've got a lot of new faces, I think, 8 to 9 this season. Has that been a factor in slow progress, perhaps, in terms of the league?
I don't know if we got that many, to be perfectly honest. We probably signed 10, 12 players. We probably 4 or 5 of them were under 21 players that were bought to make the club healthier at development level. We had to replace 2 goalkeepers because 2 goalkeepers left. And then you're looking at, obviously, like Stephen Nzonzi left. Wasn't anything we could do about that, so we had to look to replace that element of the team. So we've had changes. I think most squads after the summer window, if you look at them in comparison to the squad that they had 12 months previously, almost all of them will have 5-6 changes. We've probably been affected in terms of our skipper not being available, which obviously is a big player for us, and that wasn't one that we anticipated, but we're dealing with that, and I think for the most part we've done okay in terms of our defensive work, but losing your captain will have an obvious effect on the team. But the good news is he's training really well, and we're very hopeful that maybe in the next couple of weeks he may get some game time, not for the first team, but at a lower level, hopefully with the development teams and games in-house, and he'll be back sooner rather than later. So he's progressing well, so that's encouraging for everybody.
Mark, given the slow start, is the aim for the season at all readjusted, or is it still very much top 10, better than last season's, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we're a little bit behind. You've heard me time and time again talk about the targets that we set ourselves, and we're probably in the initial phase we're behind the targets that we set ourselves, but not by much. Over the course of the season we can make up the difference in terms of the points that we feel we should have had at this point. We've got plenty of time. We're looking just to look at this next phase of games and be really positive and get points on the board that we think we will do. That's our intention. We've done that in the past. You know that works for us. So it's something we've always done.
I was just finally going to ask you if there's been any developments at all on the John Walters contract front, any progression or otherwise.
I don't think there's been any further conversations on that subject. John's just been training very, very well. Played exceptionally well last week. Really pleased with his performance. I think he's just happy back playing, training, and getting on with his job as you would imagine.
Are you starting to wonder if we might get to that situation where the contract's just going to run down, or
it may do. I mean, I'm sure that the offer that was on the table for John, I think, hasn't been taken off the table. It's still there. It's available, but it was always about the third year really, and we haven't been able to move from that position on both sides really. So it is what it is. But the key thing is that John is training well, putting his hand up and playing exceptionally well when he's selected, and we're grateful for that. Okay.
How long do you think it will be
Sorry,
before the best of this new look Stoke team?
Well, it'll take some time. I think when you look at the top teams, you hear the comment time and time again, like the likes of Man City, Man United, Chelsea's of this world. They spend significant amounts of money, upwards £30 million on players, and invariably they'll say, well, it takes a lot of time for these guys to come accustomed to the league. It may take 12 months. Well, we can't wait that long. We need to get them up to speed a little bit quicker than that, because the players we brought in need to have an impact for us. And I have to say, I'm pleased, certainly pleased with Shakiri. He's having more of an impact in every game he's playing. He's still only had 3-4 games. Hasn't completed too many 90 minutes either. He's been taken off in some of the games. Sometimes through circumstances when you get two players sent off, we needed to make a change, so that affected him. So it's still very early in his career here, but he's settling in well. He's in the new house. He's settled with all the things outside the game. Now it's a case of focusing on his football, focusing in on playing well for Stoke, and let's see how far we can go. Okay.
Videos, please.
Okay.